Rodriguez's arbitration case with Major League Baseball. Jessica Tapp is here with more on that because A-Rod's still not happy.
Yeah, still not happy. The one difference, A-Rod he's still going to be suspended for the entire 2014 season. Here is the difference, though. The independent arbitrator dropped the length of the suspension from 211 games to 162 for abusing the league's steroid policy. Now let's take a look at A-Rod's epic fight to stay on the field, which began August 5th of last year when he was handed that 211-game suspension by Commissioner Bud Selig. That was for violating the basic agreement in baseball's drug program. Now, Rodriguez quickly appealed the suspension and was able to play the rest of the 2013 season. Then on September 30th, following the Yanks season, A-Rod's arbitration hearing began at the MLB offices in New York City. And then finally today, that ruling from arbitration that the Yankees' third baseman's original suspension is reduced from 162 games to down to any postseason games as well that the Yankees may play. Now, this is what Major League Baseball had to say in a statement following the ruling. Quote, "For more than 5 decades, the arbitration process under the basic agreement has been a fair and effective mechanism for resolving disputes and protecting player rights. While we believe the original 211-game suspension was appropriate, we respect the decision rendered by the panel and will focus on our continuing effort on eliminating performance-enhancing substances from our game." As for Alex Rodriguez, he responded with a statement of his own, saying in part, quote, "The number of games sadly comes as no surprise." He went on to say that, quote, "This is one man's decision that was not put before a fair and impartial jury." A-Rod also continued to say, quote, "I have been clear that I did not use performance-enhancing substances as the alleged in the notice of discipline or violate the basic agreement or the joint drug agreement in any manner in order to prove that I will take my fight to a federal court." So we dive deeper into what this is going to mean from a legal standpoint for Alex Rodriguez. So we bring in Ted Corless, a sports law attorney based out of Tampa. And Ted, thank you for joining us for this. And first off, let's just talk about Alex Rodriguez's statement saying, of course, he plans to take this case to a federal court. What kind of chance does he have for the arbitrator's decision to be overturned?
Well, while 3 players head for Cooperstown to rejoice in joining the Hall of Fame, Alex Rodriguez heads for the cold reality of a federal courthouse. The context of this is essentially a labor dispute between Major League Baseball and A-Rod. Under the Federal Arbitration Act, he's going to have to demonstrate that there has been some kind of corruption or fraud in the actual process of getting the ultimate decision from the arbitration panel. While A-Rod has not been quiet about criticizing the panel, he has made no specific allegations that would even fall within the category of what he's going to have to prove to overturn the suspension.
Okay, well, this latest suspension means, of course, he's going to miss all of 2014, but there is that loophole that he could possibly attend spring training, which he says he plans to do. Is there any way the Yankees can say no to that?
They could go ahead and cut him right now, although then they'd have to pay him the balance of his contract, which is approximately $61 million. You know, the way the federal court looks at this is back in 1960, the Supreme Court examined the issue of when and where a federal judge should get involved in these disputes. And ultimately, they found in 1960 and since then that a federal judge should hardly ever get involved in this. Otherwise, it destroys the whole purpose of the arbitration process.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if there is any loophole in the spring training, as we've mentioned, can we possibly see maybe any loopholes that would get him back on the field? And what kind of timeline do you think this would all take place?
The timeline right now will be measured in two different sections. The first section will deal with how quickly the court will react to the injunction that he's going to file, that he wants to preclude the suspension while the federal court is examining his allegations. I would estimate that that would be resolved in something measured in weeks, if not months. But the second part is actually looking at whether or not he can overturn the suspension, and that's going to take the balance of this year.
All right, thank you so much, Ted Corless, for joining us, attorney out of Tampa. Meanwhile, the Yankees still owe A-Rod $61 million for the 2015 season through 2017. So whether he will earn it on the baseball field or not, we're going to talk about that in the next Sports Hour to another Baseball Insider.
Thank you.
A lot of money at stake. Okay, thanks, Jessica. Well, it's been 50 years since the